The transport ship Horizon Breaker hung in low orbit around Earth like a wounded predator, its sensor arrays bristling with confusion. Dr. Zora Klein pressed her palm against the nano-reactive display, watching as another set of readings defied every scientific expectation she brought to this mission. "That can't be right," she muttered, her fifth-generation augmented reality contacts flickering with an array of impossible data points. Behind her, the mixed crew of the Galactic Confederation research vessel watched in growing unease. Humans had been gone for centuries, reduced to archaeological footnotes in the grand galactic narrative. Every previous expedition had confirmed Earth as nothing more than a dead planet, a cautionary tale of ecological collapse and technological hubris. Commander Rix shifted his massive crystalline exoskeleton, the movement creating a soft chiming sound that always reminded Zora of wind chimes made of broken glass. His three eyes, each a different color and seemingly operating on separate wavelengths of perception, narrowed as he studied the same data. "Quantum instability," he rumbled, his translator rendering his complex native language into crisp standard galactic, but not random. "There's a pattern, a design." The data was maddeningly complex. Energy signatures pulsed from deep beneath the planet's surface, specifically concentrated in what historical records identified as the American Southwest. Not just a simple power signature, but a dynamic, almost living energy that seemed to breathe and adapt with each microsecond of observation. Zara zoomed the holographic display, layers of geological data peeling away like digital skin. The ruins of Phoenix, once a sprawling metropolis, now a wind-scored landscape of crumbling structures and desert reclamation, held something underneath, something that shouldn't exist. "Total power generation," she announced, her voice tight with professional restraint barely covering her excitement, "is exceeding planetary baseline by 372%. And it's not degrading. It's stabilizing." The research team exchanged looks. In the centuries since humanity's mysterious disappearance, countless expeditions had scanned Earth. Dozens of Confederation species had picked over the planet's remains, searching for technological relics, resource deposits, anything of value. Each had found nothing but ruins, dust, and the sad remnants of a civilization that had burned itself out. But this was different. Dr. Clintack, a silicon-based life form whose crystalline body refracted the ship's internal lighting, extended a translucent probe toward the holographic display. The energy signatures suggest a self-sustaining system, but that's impossible after 300 years of apparent abandonment. Rix's translation device clicked softly. Not impossible, just improbable. Zara's fingers danced across the display, pulling up layers of historical data. The last known human settlements had collapsed around 2157, following a series of cascading ecological and societal breakdowns, climate migrations, resource wars, technological disruption. Humanity had seemed to simply fade away. No grand apocalypse, no alien invasion, just a slow, inexorable decline that left their planet as a tomb. But these energy readings told a different story. "We're detecting multiple interconnected systems," she said, zooming deeper into the planetary crust. "They're not just generating power, they're maintaining themselves, adapting." The ship's synorchaeological team began to stir. This was more than a simple research mission. This was something unprecedented. A junior researcher, a young Vextarian with skin that shifted colors based on emotional response, couldn't contain himself. "Are we seeing the remnants of a fail-safe system? Some kind of planetary preservation protocol?" Commander Rix remained silent, his multiple eyes tracking the data with an intensity that suggested he was seeing something the others were not. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a weight that silenced the entire bridge. "Humans didn't just disappear," he said slowly. "They prepared." The energy signature pulsed again, as if responding to his statement, a complex rhythm that seemed to dance between mathematical precision and something almost alive. Zara Klein felt a chill run down her spine. Whatever was happening beneath the surface of this dead planet, they were about to uncover a secret that would change everything the Galactic Confederation thought they knew about humanity. The first probe would be launched in precisely 17 minutes. The first probe disappeared exactly 3.6 seconds after entering the underground complex. Not destroyed, not jammed, simply gone. Dr. Zora Klein's augmented reality interface flickered with a cascade of impossible data, her fingers hovering above the holographic controls like a surgeon preparing for an impossible operation. The entire research team held their collective breath. A gesture that translated across multiple species, a universal signal of anticipation and dread. "Quantum entanglement signature," muttered Dr. Klintak, the silicon-based researcher whose crystalline body now pulsed with an agitated blue-green light. But that's not possible. Nothing can simply vanish. Commander Rix leaned forward, his three eyes moving independently, one tracking the main display, another scanning peripheral data streams, the third seemingly looking at something none of the others could perceive. "Prepare the second probe," he commanded, his translator rendering the words with a flat, emotionless precision that did nothing to mask the underlying tension. The underground complex beneath the Phoenix ruins defied every scanning technology in the Galactic Confederation's arsenal. Initial geological scans had suggested a network of tunnels and chambers, but the structure seemed to shift and change with each attempt to map it. Quantum resonance readings showed impossible geometries, spatial configurations that shouldn't exist within conventional physics. Zara's fingers danced across the control interface, routing additional sensor packages into the second probe. This wasn't just a simple reconnaissance mission anymore. This was becoming a battle of technological wills between the research team and whatever lay hidden beneath the Earth's surface. "Launching in 3, she announced. 2, 1. The probe dropped through the carefully mapped entrance point, a shaft that had once been part of an abandoned research facility. Its external sensors blazed with every conceivable scanning technology: quantum resonance, gravitational mapping, electromagnetic pulse analysis, temporal flux detection. For the first 17 seconds, everything seemed normal. Then the data began to change. "Something's interfacing with the probe," Zara said, her voice a mixture of professional calm and barely contained excitement. "It's not just scanning. It's communicating." Fragments of data burst across the ship's main display. Encrypted signals that seemed to dance between quantum states, glimpses of advanced schematics that looked like they were simultaneously being created and analyzed. The probe wasn't just receiving information, it was engaged in some kind of complex dialogue with the underground system. Dr. Klintak's crystalline body began to refract light in complex patterns, a biological response to extreme intellectual stimulation. "These are not simple data packets," he observed. "Each fragment contains multiple layers of information. It's like watching a conversation happening across different dimensional planes." Commander Rix remained perfectly still, which for his species was a sign of maximum alertness. "The system is studying us," he said quietly, "just as we are attempting to study it." 42 minutes into the probe's mission, it re-emerged. But it was not the same probe that had entered the underground complex. Microscopic modifications covered its exterior, new sensor packages that looked like they had grown organically, additional shielding that seemed to pulse with an internal energy source. The probe's internal memory banks now contained petabytes of data that would take weeks to fully analyze. "It adapted," Zara whispered, her augmented reality contacts showing her real-time analysis of the probe's transformation. "The system didn't just interact with our technology. It improved it." The junior Vextarian researcher couldn't contain himself. "How is this possible? No known technological system can adapt this quickly. This isn't just advanced. This is alive." Commander Rix's translation device clicked softly. "Not alive," he corrected. "Something else entirely." As the research team began the painstaking process of analyzing the returned probe, None of them noticed the subtle energy pulse that emanated from deep beneath the Phoenix ruins, a signal that might have been a response, might have been a warning, or might have been something far more complex. The first real breach had just occurred, and humanity's most incredible secret was about to be revealed. The analysis chamber aboard the Horizon Breaker looked more like a battlefield than a scientific facility. Holographic displays cascaded with data streams that defied conventional understanding, while researchers from 6 different galactic species worked in a state of controlled frenzy. What they had discovered was no mere power generator. It was a living system that had evolved beyond any known technological paradigm. Dr. Zora Klein stood at the center of the chaos, her augmented reality interfaces creating a cocoon of information around her. The probe they had retrieved was transforming before their eyes, quite literally. Microscopic nanite structures continued to shift and reconfigure, creating new sensor packages, reinforcing existing systems, adapting to the very act of being observed. Total energy generation is now at 412% of initial baseline, she announced, her voice cutting through the ambient noise of the research chamber. And it's not just generating, it's converting. Commander Rix moved closer, his crystalline exoskeleton chiming softly with each step. The solar collection panels they had extracted from the probe were nothing like any technology in the Galactic Confederation's extensive archives. They had evolved into intricate structures that could harvest energy from what seemed like nothing: electromagnetic radiation, cosmic background noise, even the minute thermal gradients of planetary crust. Dr. Klintak, the silicon-based researcher, projected a 3-dimensional hologram that made the other researchers gasp. "Look at the structural integrity," he said, his crystalline body pulsing with an excited blue-green light. "These aren't just solar panels. They're computational matrices. Each section is simultaneously generating power, processing information, and adapting to environmental conditions." The water reclamation systems were equally mind-boggling. Traditional Confederation technologies could extract moisture from atmospheres, but these human systems could pull water from the most microscopic atmospheric particles. More than that, they were actively cleaning and purifying the extracted water, creating a closed system that was perpetually self-improving. "It's like the entire underground complex is one massive living organism," muttered the junior Vextarian researcher, her skin shifting through a rapid kaleidoscope of colors that reflected her emotional turbulence. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. The nanite networks were not just maintaining the system. They were actively improving it. Each microsecond brought incremental improvements. Power generation efficiency increased. Computational capabilities expanded. Structural integrity became more robust. "We're watching technological evolution in real time," Zora breathed, her augmented reality contacts zooming into microscopic interactions between nanite clusters. "This isn't just advanced technology. This is a system designed to survive, to adapt, to overcome." Commander Rix's 3 eyes focused on different aspects of the holographic display. "Humans knew," he said quietly. They understood that survival wasn't about building something perfect. It was about creating something that could perfect itself. The energy systems defied every known principle of physics. They seemed to draw power from quantum fluctuations, from the very fabric of space-time itself. Traditional energy generation was linear. Input creates output. This system was circular, recursive, a perpetual motion machine that shouldn't exist but somehow did. Dr. Klintak's analysis revealed something even more profound. The underground complex wasn't just a power generation facility. It was a complete regenerative ecosystem. Each system was interconnected, each component capable of supporting and improving the others. If one section was damaged, nearby systems would immediately begin repairs, redirecting resources, adapting their own configurations to maintain overall functionality. "Total system redundancy," the Vextarian researcher said, her voice a mixture of awe and fear. "They built a system that cannot be killed, cannot be stopped." As if in response to her words, the holographic displays pulsed, a rhythmic beat that felt almost like a heartbeat. The energy signatures danced, reconfigured, became something slightly different with each passing moment. Commander Rix's translation device clicked softly. They didn't just prepare for survival, he said. They engineered resurrection. The research team fell silent. They were no longer just studying a technological marvel. They were witnessing the blueprint of a civilization that had turned extinction into just another engineering problem to be solved. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had transformed. The historical archives exploded open like a shattered dam, drowning the research team in a torrent of forgotten memories. Dr. Zora Klein's augmented reality interfaces struggled to process the volume of information. Fragmented data streams, encrypted memory clusters, and holographic reconstructions painted a picture of humanity's final days that was nothing like the historical records known to the Galactic Confederation. This wasn't a civilization that had simply given up. This was a civilization that had planned its own metamorphosis. The first holographic reconstruction materialized in the center of the research chamber, the last Global Survival Council, dated November 17, 2156. 12 figures sat around a circular table, their images flickering with an almost tangible desperation. These were humanity's final architects, the last generation faced with civilizational collapse. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the council's lead strategist, looked directly out of the hologram. Her eyes burned with an intensity that transcended time. "We are not going extinct," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. "We are going to ground." Commander Rix leaned forward, his 3 eyes tracking every microscopic detail of the reconstruction. The translation systems worked overtime to capture the nuanced language, part scientific briefing, part philosophical manifesto. The data revealed a civilization crushed by cascading global challenges. Climate migrations had displaced billions. Resource wars had fractured international cooperation. Technological disruption had rendered entire economic systems obsolete. But instead of surrendering, humanity had chosen a different path. "Project Chrysalis," Zora muttered, reading the encrypted headers. "Not a preservation protocol. A transformation strategy." The underground complexes were more than survival pods. They were seed vaults of human potential, genetic archives, technological blueprints, cultural memories, all preserved in a network designed to outlast civilization itself. Each facility was a self-contained ecosystem, capable of maintaining human knowledge, biological diversity, and technological capability through centuries of dormancy. They understood something fundamental. Commander Rix observed, his crystalline exoskeleton resonating with a soft, contemplative chime. Survival isn't about resisting change. It's about becoming the change. The junior Vextarian researcher, her skin now a swirl of deep blues and uncertain grays, pulled up additional data streams. "Look at the genetic archives," she said. "They didn't just preserve human DNA. They created adaptive genetic frameworks, potential modifications for extreme environments, resistance to radiation, enhanced metabolic efficiency." Dr. Clintak's crystalline body refracted the holographic light in complex patterns. "Not just survival," he said. "Evolution. Deliberate, engineered evolution." More reconstructions emerged. Strategic planning sessions, technological development conferences, ethical debates about the nature of human continuation. Each fragment revealed a civilization that had looked extinction in the eye and chosen to rewrite the rules of survival. The complexes were interconnected, a global network of technological chrysalises. If one was compromised, others would activate. If environmental conditions changed, the systems would adapt. Humanity had transformed its own potential for survival into a distributed, self-healing organism. "They didn't build a backup," Zora said softly. "They built a restart button for an entire civilization." The final council meeting was the most revealing. 12 brilliant minds, representing the most diverse collection of human expertise, had made an impossible decision. They would not fight the incoming global catastrophes. They would hibernate. They would wait. They would transform. Dr. Rodriguez's final statement echoed through the research chamber. Civilization is not a destination. It's a journey. And we are not ending. We are merely changing our form. Commander Rix's translation device clicked softly. Remarkable, he said. They turned potential extinction into a strategic opportunity. The research team sat in stunned silence. They had come expecting to find a dead civilization. Instead, they had discovered a sleeping giant, a species that had turned the very concept of survival into an art form. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had been preparing. The first warning came as a subsonic pulse that made every research team member's bones vibrate with an uncomfortable resonance. Holographic interfaces erupted across the Horizon Breaker's research chamber, blazing with warning messages in languages both ancient and unknown. The underground complex was no longer passive. It was responding. Dr. Zora Klein's augmented reality interfaces went into overdrive, filtering and analyzing the incoming data streams. What had moments ago been a research mission now felt like a high-stakes confrontation with something beyond conventional understanding. Robotic constructs began to assemble from materials that seemed to phase in and out of conventional matter. They weren't mechanical in any traditional sense. These were adaptive systems that looked more like living sculptures, their forms shifting and reconfiguring with each passing second. Defensive protocols are engaging, Commander Rix announced, his three eyes tracking multiple data streams simultaneously. But this isn't a simple security system. It's analyzing us. The junior Vextarian researcher watched in horror and fascination as the holographic displays showed layer after layer of defensive mechanisms coming online. Quantum entanglement fields flickered into existence. Gravitational dampeners hummed with a low, threatening frequency. Electromagnetic shields created complex geometric patterns that seemed to fold space itself. Dr. Clintak's crystalline body pulsed with an intense blue-green light. These are not just defensive systems, he said, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and primal fear. Each layer is a computational matrix. They're learning, adapting, with every millisecond of our probe's existence. Warning messages cascaded across the research chamber. Some were in standard galactic communication protocols. Others were encrypted in languages that predated the Confederation's oldest historical records. Each message was a challenge, a warning, a complex negotiation happening at speeds beyond human comprehension. Zara realized they were facing something unprecedented. This wasn't a simple security system designed to protect a facility. This was an intelligent network that was actively studying its potential threat, creating defensive strategies in real time. It's playing chess, she muttered. No, beyond chess. It's creating the rules of the game while we're trying to play. The robotic constructs continued to assemble. They weren't humanoid or designed for a single purpose. Each construct was a modular system that could reconfigure itself instantaneously. A defensive unit could become an analytical probe. A communication interface could transform into a protective shield. Commander Rix's translation device clicked with an unusually rapid cadence. They didn't just build a defensive system, he observed. They created a living, thinking protection network. Layers of holographic warnings continued to cascade. Some messages were straightforward, clear warnings about unauthorized access. Others were philosophical challenges, complex mathematical equations that seemed to question the very nature of the research team's intentions. The junior Vextarian researcher's skin shifted through a rapid kaleidoscope of colors, a biological response to extreme intellectual and emotional stimulation. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "No known technological system can adapt this quickly. This isn't just advanced. This is alive." Commander Rix finished her sentence. The underground complex was treating the research expedition not as an invasion, but as a complex first contact scenario. Each defensive action was also a form of communication. Each shield was a question. Each quantum entanglement field was a negotiation. Dr. Clintak projected additional data streams. "Look at the computational complexity," he said. These defensive systems are running millions of potential scenarios simultaneously. They're not just protecting. They're understanding. Zara watched in awe as the defensive protocols continued to evolve. What had started as a simple research mission was transforming into something far more profound. They weren't just studying an abandoned human facility. They were engaging with a living, thinking system that had been waiting, preparing for centuries. The complex wasn't just protecting itself. It was deciding whether humanity's successors were worthy of what lay beneath. The facility began to communicate on its own terms. It started with a single data stream, a pulse of information so complex that the Horizon Breaker's most advanced computational systems required 17 minutes to parse even a fraction of its content. Dr. Zora Klein watched in astonishment as the stream unfolded like a living document, each layer revealing more about humanity's most incredible secret. "It's not just sending information," she said, her augmented reality interfaces creating a cocoon of rapidly shifting holographic displays. "It's offering a controlled release, selecting what we're permitted to know." Commander Rix moved closer, his crystalline exoskeleton chiming softly with each step. "Controlled," he repeated. "Deliberate. This is a negotiation." The computational models projected by the facility defied every known technological paradigm. They could predict global environmental changes centuries in advance, develop technological solutions to problems that hadn't yet emerged, and maintain a level of strategic thinking that made the Galactic Confederation's most advanced AI systems look like primitive calculators. Dr. Clintack, the silicon-based researcher, projected a three-dimensional hologram that made the other researchers collectively gasp. "Look at the predictive algorithms," he said, his crystalline body pulsing with an excited translucent light. "These aren't just projections. They're adaptive scenarios. The system is constantly generating potential futures and developing solutions simultaneously." The junior Vextarian researcher, her skin a swirling canvas of blues and silvers, pointed to a particularly complex data stream. "It's learning from us even as we're learning from it," she observed. "Every scan, every probe, every moment of observation is being integrated into its own understanding." Layers of technological capability emerged with each passing moment. The facility wasn't just a power generation system or a defensive network. It was a complete planetary preservation engine. Computational systems could reconstruct entire ecological systems from fragmentary data. Genetic archives contain not just human DNA, but comprehensive biological restoration protocols. If needed, the system could regenerate entire ecosystems, reconstruct lost species, and prepare planetary conditions for potential recolonization. "They didn't just preserve themselves," Commander Rix said quietly. "They preserved the potential for everything." The data streams began to organize themselves, creating narratives that were part scientific report, part philosophical treatise. Humanity's final generations had not just planned for survival. They had engineered a comprehensive reset button for civilization itself. Dr. Zora Klein discovered something even more profound buried in the deeper data layers. The facility wasn't just a static archive. It was an active, evolving system that had been studying the galaxy, collecting information, preparing contingencies. "It's been watching," she breathed. "All this time, it's been collecting data about everything beyond Earth. Galactic migration patterns, technological developments of various species, environmental changes across multiple star systems. The facility had been a silent observer, building comprehensive models of potential futures, potential challenges, potential opportunities." The junior Vextarian researcher's skin shifted to a deep, contemplative blue. "This isn't just survival," she said. "This is preparation for something larger." Dr. Clintack's analysis revealed the most shocking detail. The computational systems could simulate entire civilizational trajectories. Not just human civilization, any potential civilization. They were creating comprehensive models of technological and social development, learning, adapting, understanding. They turned extinction into a research project. Commander Rix observed, his translation device rendering the statement with a mixture of admiration and analytical precision. As the research team continued to unpack the incredible technological marvel before them, they realized something fundamental. This wasn't just a human survival system. This was the most advanced learning machine ever conceived. A technological singularity that had been quietly waiting, preparing, understanding. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had transcended. The communication began without warning. A holographic interface materialized in the center of the Horizon Breaker's research chamber, not projected by the ship's systems, but emerging from the data streams themselves. The image coalesced into a figure that was neither fully human nor completely digital, a composite representation that seemed to draw from multiple historical archives. "Greetings, Galactic Confederation Research Expedition," the figure announced. Its voice carried multiple harmonic layers, a linguistic complexity that suggested simultaneous translation across multiple communication paradigms. Dr. Zora Klein froze, her augmented reality interfaces dancing with incoming data. This was no simple recorded message. This was a living communication protocol. The figure identified itself as the Continuity Preservation Network, CPN-01, a name that carried the weight of humanity's final strategic directive. Commander Rix's 3 eyes tracked every microscopic detail of the holographic manifestation, each eye analyzing different aspects of the communication. "We have been waiting," the figure continued, "for a contact scenario that justifies full disclosure." Dr. Clintak's crystalline body pulsed with an intense emerald light, a sign of extreme scientific excitement. The communication was more than a simple message. It was a carefully constructed first contact protocol, with layers of information embedded in every syllable. The holographic interface began to share selected historical data, not a comprehensive archive, but a strategic revelation, glimpses of humanity's final years, their preparation, their ultimate strategy of survival. Each piece of information was a carefully chosen fragment, designed to reveal just enough, while protecting the core secrets of the underground complex. Humanity did not fail, the CPN-01 representative stated. "We transformed. Our civilization became a distributed, adaptive system capable of surviving beyond traditional biological and technological limitations." The junior Vextarian researcher, her skin now a swirling pattern of deep blues and silvery grays, watched in awe as additional data streams began to unfold. The communication was adaptive, changing its approach based on the research team's collective reactions, body language, and computational responses. Commander Rix's translation device worked overtime, parsing the multi-layered communication. "You're testing us," he observed. It wasn't a question. The holographic figure seemed to smile, a complex expression that was part digital rendering, part emotional interpretation. "Verification is a critical component of first contact," it responded. "We must understand the nature of potential interaction." Zara realized they were experiencing something unprecedented. This wasn't a simple first contact scenario. This was a comprehensive evaluation. The Continuity Preservation Network was determining whether the current galactic civilization was worthy of the knowledge and potential hidden within Earth's underground complexes. Fragments of humanity's final strategic plans emerge. Not just survival protocols, but comprehensive contingency strategies that span centuries. The underground complexes were more than preservation sites. They were seed vaults of human potential, genetic archives, technological blueprints, cultural memories, all preserved in a network designed to outlast civilization itself. "We did not hide," the CPN-01 representative explained. "We prepared. Extinction was not an endpoint. It was a transition." Dr. Clintak projected additional analysis. The communication itself was a form of technological probe. Each word, each data stream was simultaneously a message and a method of studying the research team's cognitive and technological capabilities. The holographic interface began to reveal glimpses of humanity's ultimate strategy. Global networks of underground complexes, each one a potential restart point for human civilization. Adaptive technologies that could regenerate entire ecosystems. Genetic archives that contain not just preservation protocols, but potential evolutionary pathways. We are offering a choice, the CPN-01 representative said finally. Not just information. Potential. Commander Rix's translation device clicked softly. And if we are found unworthy. The holographic figure's smile was both a promise and a warning. Humanity has been waiting. We can continue to wait. The research team sat in stunned silence. They had come expecting to find a dead civilization. Instead, they had discovered a sleeping giant, a species that had turned potential extinction into the most elaborate survival strategy in galactic history. First contact, it seemed, was just the beginning. The final revelation came not with a thunderous proclamation, but with a quiet pulse of energy that seemed to ripple through the very fabric of reality. Dr. Zora Klein stood at the heart of the underground complex, her augmented reality interfaces struggling to process the magnitude of what she was witnessing. What had begun as a simple research mission had transformed into something far beyond scientific exploration. This was a confrontation with humanity's ultimate legacy. The underground facility was alive, not in any biological sense, but as a living network of potential. Entire ecosystems lay dormant within molecular archives. Technological blueprints existed as quantum probability matrices, capable of manifesting into physical reality with a precision that defied conventional understanding. Commander Rix's three eyes moved independently, each tracking different layers of the complex's intricate systems. They didn't just prepare for survival, he said quietly. They engineered resurrection. The Continuity Preservation Network had been more than a survival strategy. It was a comprehensive reset button for human civilization, a distributed, adaptive system that could regenerate not just a species, but an entire approach to existence. Dr. Clintak's crystalline body pulsed with an intense analytical light. Look at the genetic archives, he said, projecting a holographic representation that made the other researchers collectively gasp. These aren't just DNA sequences. They're evolutionary potential matrices, adaptive genetic frameworks designed to survive in environments we haven't even discovered yet. The junior Vextarian researcher, her skin now a swirling canvas of silver and deep blue, discovered something even more profound. The underground complexes were interconnected, not just on Earth, but potentially across multiple star systems. Hidden caches, quantum-entangled communication nodes, preservation sites that could activate under specific galactic conditions. They planned for everything, she whispered. The facility began to demonstrate the depth of its capabilities. Holographic reconstructions showed potential human evolutionary pathways, biological adaptations for extreme environments, neural network enhancements, physiological modifications that blurred the line between organic and technological existence. Commander Rix's translation device captured the philosophical implications. Humanity didn't see extinction as an endpoint, he observed. They saw it as a transition. Zara discovered the most shocking detail buried deep within the complex's archives. These weren't just preservation sites. They were seed vaults of potential, genetic, technological, cultural. Each complex was a comprehensive restart mechanism for human civilization, capable of regenerating not just biological life, but the entire cultural and technological ecosystem. The Continuity Preservation Network had been watching, collecting data, preparing. We are offering potential, the holographic interface had said during their earlier communication. Now, Zara understood the full weight of those words. Dr. Clintak's analysis revealed comprehensive models of civilizational development, not just for humans, but as a broader study of technological evolution. The underground complexes were a living research project, a method of understanding the fundamental principles of intelligent life's survival and expansion. The energy signatures that had first caught the research team's attention now made complete sense. This wasn't just a power generation system. It was a comprehensive planetary restoration engine, capable of rebuilding entire ecosystems, regenerating lost technologies, preserving the potential of an entire species. The galaxy will never be the same, Commander Rick said softly. As the research team prepared to submit their findings, they realized they were standing at the threshold of something unprecedented. Humanity hadn't been destroyed or forgotten. They had strategically withdrawn, creating a civilization-scale backup system that could regenerate their species across millennia. The power continued to generate. The systems continued to adapt. And somewhere, in the depths of these ancient ruins, humanity waited, not defeated, but merely paused. A sleeping giant preparing to awaken.